Hi guys, welcome back to Joe with Joe. I'm Joe, this is my Joe, this is Little Joe. So far we've covered scales of trains and the different power sources. Now I've already picked my scales and what power source I want to use. We'll link those videos in the description too, by the way. But now we get some exciting questions. Such as, how does one get started? What are the best resources to get started? How do I keep from going overly broke with this? We got some things to think about. So, grab a cup of Joe. Let's explore these questions together on the Mill Runner, Western Maryland. Hop on. Okay, so before we start talking about our budget, we need to talk about what resources are available for us to help us actually understand the hobby and where to get started. So, Chris, what's out there?
That's a good question, Joe, and kind of a broad one. So I'm going to try to narrow it down to 3 points. Number 1, model railroading magazines such as Railroad Model Craftsman and Model Railroader hold a lot of valuable information and techniques to help you prepare for your future railroad. Number 2 is very similar. There are a lot of incredible model railroaders on YouTube who have graciously shared their talent through their videos. YouTube is a great resource to better understand that there isn't just one way to model railroad. Number 3, research local hobby shops near you so you can have a hands-on experience with what's out there. Finding reliable shops online like Model Train Stuff, Train World, and Trains will better help you see the variety model railroading has to offer. So if I had to guess your next question, it would be, what's the best way to get started?
Actually, Chris, I think I got this one. What you see here is what I have. I started with nothing. Technically, started with a power pack, but that's another story. So I have a total of 10 engines, little locomotives. We'll get to these in another video. But I have this at 350 feet worth of track. Feet of track. And I have about $200 in all of this. So you can very well see the benefit of going to train shows. I went with the intention of not even spending $50, but I spent all this over the course of 3 months, 3 to 4 months. And I have all this for about the same price as one brand new pack. Just one locomotive, a few pieces of rolling stock, and a little bit of track. However, not everyone's going to be as lucky as me because I have many people to help me and I have a ton of resources already in this hobby. So one drawback to buying train shows is you might not get that good of quality. If you don't have the exposure already, you can buy something that doesn't work or some track that's too dirty or something that just needs cleaned and you simply just don't know how and never done this before in your life. It can get pretty frustrating. So that's where it might be beneficial for you to maybe fork out some of the money to buy a brand new set. That way you have the idea of how it's supposed to run and sort of an idea of what you're getting yourself into. However, if you do have somebody that isn't already in the hobby or someone even just getting started, start partnering with them. Make it a road trip to go out to a train show. Make it fun to just go. That's where I started with Chris. He dragged me to a train show, and Sure enough, I had fun and I ended up buying my first box of track. In terms of actual budgeting, I recommend, as I've said, I've got all this for less than $200. Now, Chris was nice enough to give me a few rolling stock, most of his doubles, but that's good enough for me to get started. So I didn't really need to worry that much about rolling stock, but then again, you guys don't need to worry about these many locomotives starting out. So I would say $200 is pretty fair. That's a pretty fair amount to use to get started. That's what I would do. And as I've said, you're not going to spend all that at once. But if you do, you know at what point you definitely need to stop. And whatever you do, first off, when you do buy something, they usually have the 2 or 3 that I've been to, they have a test track. Test it before you go to buy it. That way you know for sure if it's something that actually is going to run, or for sparks or whatever, you know, if you do spend your money. So at the end of the day, it really does matter about what the type of resources you have in terms of where exactly you're going to put your first foot down. Once you figure out what your first foot placement's going to be, you pretty well see the path from there. About how much money you want to dive into this, how much money you have to dive into it, and how far you actually want to go. Alright guys, that's about it. If you guys have any more ideas for newcomers, please, we love to hear about them. While you're down there, like and subscribe. We just hit 500 not that long ago. Pretty awesome. That's about it. Just remember, don't forget, the most important rule of model railroading: have fun. We'll see you next time. On the Mill Runner Western Mayor.